Hi, good evening. This is Dan. This is House of Broken Dobbs Things. And I wanted to point out, especially from my buddy Peter in Australia, that there is a cleared section of my ordinarily trashed workbench. I was sorting through some stuff and I kind of came across some surface area that wasn't covered in things. And I thought, you know, I've been off the air for just a little bit. I'll get into that in a minute. And I figured I would just share it since I'm messing around this evening. Currently at my work, which I've never went into what I do for a living because it's not important, but they've been going through some adjustments in staffing levels and jobs and so on and so forth. Well, after about 6 months of waiting, we finally got our decisions made, and yeah, I happily have a job still. In addition to that, I have changed positions in the company, so I maintain my seniority and whatnot, and I maintain my grade. So that's been kind of weighing on it. In addition to that, we've had some broken stuff around the house, Volvo stuff that really wasn't worth filming. That's been sorted through. We have some new acquisitions that we'll get into over the next couple of weeks. But I wanted to get back on and say I missed you all, and I appreciate the comments that you send. And I appreciate the friendships that we've started through the going through the YouTube. So anyway, we have an open bench section, and I thought, you know, sometimes the stuff I get is kind of interesting, and I thought I'd share a few pieces that I have. This one is actually kind of interesting. It's just a flat piece of steel, tapped and drilled with different sizes. You know, it's nothing special. It's nothing fancy. I have this version, which is metric and standard, which, by the way, these are very nice to have because you can screw, you know, the thread into a fixed post or a nut or whatever. But I thought this was just really clever, how easy that would be to make and how useful that would be because it takes up no space. This is nice, but it's kind of gangly and gets in the way, and it kind of gets where it conceals itself at times. It kind of blends in and goes away. So anyway, I thought that was a pretty clever one. High helix bit. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but those are pretty cool for pulling the chips out of a hole. This was the final version that I used on the Boyar Schultz to get the nut off of it. We made that. I have a little booger right here, full disclosure. My DRO kind of blinked out for a couple of seconds there, and well, you know. But anyway, it did well. Pierre did just fine. I had to do just a smidge of hand fitting, but it worked well, and I think it would work again to do the bearings on the Boyar Schultz with no problem whatsoever. Okay, various taps. I do love my spiral taps. I really like them a lot. Fortunately, we had a casualty in the family. It was a 5/16 18 spiral tap, and well, I was doing a little work on the Volvo, and I was about 1.25 inches deep, and then it decided it was going to fatigue and fracture and break in place. So that caused me to have to pause and rethink the whole endeavor, and I actually got out the lathe and I made one. Unfortunately, I didn't film it because I was in a bit of a hurry, but I'll show you a picture of it in this segment. It wasn't all that complex, but it certainly is much better having that on there and done. So, without much further ado, got a lot of taps. One thing I do like getting is pulley taps. Nice deep one for going in between the grooves that you're trying to tap one when you've got a pulley or a shiv or whatever you're working on. And this one, hold on. This is a 1/4-20. Yep, 1/4-20. These are fantastic if you can get them, find them. They're not super common all over the place, so if you find them out on a lot, which this all came in a lot, which was the right way to get stuff if you have the opportunity. Okay. So from there, we've got tons to show you, but not in this segment. I'm going to do just a quick one this evening. Getting ready to put the hard-hinge indexer back together again, and the good news is we now have a 24 tooth inside wheel as well. So not only can we do the 20, the 24 now, and then we also have the 36. So we'll be able to do a full complement of indexing with the hard hinge. So that's great success. It's out in the garage. I'll show it to you in another segment, but we're doing pretty good there. I'm very, very pleased with that. In addition to that, I haven't actually done one of these what's in your box segment, so I'll show you what's in this box segment. Many toolboxes scattered all over. If you know my indexing system here, you know it's quite well, not very disciplined, but that's kind of have to run in, do what I need to do, then get back out. Baseball game for the grandson, or hockey, those kind of things, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's just cuts into the time, so you kind of gotta make a choice. So anyway, I'll bring you right back. We'll take a look inside this thing. Okay, bringing you back. This is a old Kennedy box. Picked it up, very nice. Gentleman at my work had it and let it go. It was his grandfather's. I have the tachometer that I think Brian Block used one of these as well. Uses the reflective tape. I just have that down here because I was playing with it the other day. Cheap import Morse taper 2 to a Morse taper 3 sleeve. Sometimes I just need that cut back, and I just didn't have the surface grinder available to cut one, so I went ahead and just picked one up. And metric drill bits, courtesy of Pierre, doing a Banggood review of them and giving me confidence to actually order them. And some blocks, setup blocks. Pretty nice set of die files, so I use those quite a bit. I actually had opportunity to pick up a few more, and the gentleman took a second look and said, I can't get rid of those. Okay. You've seen me look at these before. I have my files, or not my files, my stones. I've got more than just a couple. Some of you people out there will be interested in this Brown & Sharp. I don't have it assembled, but it is Brown & Sharp setup, an indicator. We'll get into what these are in a future segment. These are geometric threading dies. Use those. Nice little V-block setup. We kind of played around with that when we were messing with the hard hinge. So it's just in the top. And again, I didn't spend a lot of time putting this box together. I just got it, but I wanted to go ahead and share a few things with you. So, tool steel, various sizes. I always thought that was a pretty handy little shop-made little block. I don't know how long it took that gentleman to make that, but it's just kind of handy. In all various sizes. I do have some with a brazed carbide that are ready to be trimmed into some kind of shape. These were kind of interesting. There's like an extra long forming tool that was set up. Yeah, I got that from the Getting Place that I've talked about many times. In addition to that, sorry about that, carbide burrs, some Bokum boring bar attachments, some very, very nice saw blades here. A couple of those are various sizes. These are interesting, little grinding discs that looks like to me like it would almost cut a thread repair if you needed one. So I got several of those. Some of you will be able to recognize what that is immediately. That's a lap. That actually is a Boyer-Schultz lap. Uses the copper for the lapping part of it. And got a couple extra ones of those. And I've got another one here. They come in distinct sizes for what you're going to work on, so you really wouldn't want to collect an entire set. It would be very expensive. This is a drawer you might find interesting. These are stub reamers. For those of us that actually have smaller mills, sometimes you don't have a ton of clearance to put a full-time ream in there. So from that extent, I've actually got these from, yeah, you guessed it, the Getting Place, and they were very right. And I've got them down to about 50 thousandths in various sizes, but I look forward to using those. They'll probably come in handy many, many times. Here's one that Chirpy's probably going to like. These looks like they were actually meant to go into a setup for going ahead and cutting internal Allens. So if you're interested in one or two of those, Chirpy, I bet that would work out just great out there on your blacksmithing exercises you're doing, your forging work. But got quite a few of them. Then some cutters. I have a ton more out in the garage, but some of them are very nice. 6 degree, they are extremely sharp. You got to be careful. Within this, I am pretty well set on those, and yeah, I still need to get the horizontal mill going, but that won't be long. And in the bottom, a very interesting countersink or deburrer, if you want to look at it. It looks like it was made for special purpose, but it is very, very well made. The fit on that is really superb, so I probably use that eventually. Here's one that's kind of interesting. That appears to be a drill bit for a very straight hole, and it is made in a drop shank, or not a drop shank, but in a stage. So he does a small one, then it does the countersink of the next one. Very interesting. The rest of the drawer, hey, you like that little dude? Yeah. You go in your center and go ahead and punch your hole. And then we have some other ones, very similar format. And have a lot of these. I showed these, introduced them in another video, but the step drills to get you started, and then you go ahead and finish it out. I have quite a few of those, various sizes, various designs. Some that are brand new. Yep, the Getting Place. And more of the step drills. Here's a max version of a little starter drill for you. That probably would look on really good on your new tooling there for a starter hole, pilot hole. And you will probably find these interesting. Spade drills, very nicely done, like brand new. And there's one in here. It's going to be hard to scale it, if you can see that or not. Really small. The way I understand it, and please jump in and correct me, these are what you would use if you wanted to cut a very, very straight hole without all the flexing from the spirals on a drill bit. Got some of those. Little lapping block set up. Really nice. Again, I have quite a few of those step drills. And I'm pretty sure you can see these. Probably at various sizes. This is about half. Some of these were actually kind of cool. Keyway cutters and even angled cutters. And there are some of them that are really interesting. That little dude. Yeah, got some pretty cool stuff. And there's some very aggressive ones, like 1/4 inch, that actually have a fairly different pattern than what I'm used to seeing. With the gratuitous contour gauges. And that's about it for this little box. Again, there's many more boxes, but I just want to share you what I was goofing off with tonight. You wind up getting some very strange taps occasionally. And this one is a 5/16 32. I bet most toolboxes may or may not have that. And I've come to determine, after my experience recently, the right number of taps to have is one more than you actually need. I guarantee you, if you have just what you need, that's the one you're going to break. It's Murphy's Law. It's written in the books. I don't know. I can't change it. So, that's just a quick look at the stuff I'm goofing off with tonight. Don't want to keep you very long, but I was reluctant to to pass up an opportunity this evening to go ahead and film a little bit. So we're in the basement, we're goofing off, and I appreciate you hanging in there with me this evening. Got one other one you might be interested in seeing. This is a somewhat new addition. This is a number 30 taper and a set of collets for it. And yep, I stole it. So somebody wasn't looking. I put in a very, very low bid and it flew through. So hey, what am I going to do? Okay, with all that, just to step you back here, I am using my very cheap hillbilly version of a camera mount, which I have grown more and more fond of every time I've used it. It's cheap to make and very easy to actually use. It sets in. I'll show it to you again. I showed it in another video. Okay, so just taking a look here, this is a Harbor Freight with a 1/4-20 center. This is meant for a sanding disc. This is just dead mass that I've got on there to kind of keep it rigid. That's threaded rod, and this is a 1/4-20 camera mount going into the GoPro. Now, what's nice about it is I can set it pretty much anywhere and shoot from just about anywhere, and I don't have this conflagration thing or its other cousin thing or its other cousin thing. They always fall over, they're always in the way, they take a huge footprint. I just find my cheap little whiz-bang setup here for $3, no, $1 maybe, and then a nut or two, and then you already have your GoPro mount or whatever mount you have, and then you're off to the races. I'm going to make various sizes. I've got some threaded rod. I'm going to make them short, make them tall, and then just use that. But yeah, it's junk. It's crap. But it works really well. So, be that as it may, I mean, no matter where I am, you know, you can always set it up, and it doesn't take much of a footprint, and it doesn't fall over easily. So I'm actually kind of very pleased with it. Oh, one other one. I know I've showed this to Marcus, but there's my Fluke DVOM for the benchtop, folks. AC powered, $2.40. Yeah, I was at a big surplus store with a buddy, $2.40. I couldn't have been more tickled when I got it home, plugged it in, and it's off to the races. Enjoyed that a great deal. Okay, that's the rest of my mess. You're all familiar with it. And I'm going to call it quits for this evening. I thank you for tuning in, and sorry I've been gone a little bit, but things have been a little tense. And we'll get back to a normal rotation here soon. Thank you all. Appreciate you watching.